welcome to Queening Out. Here's Kim.
Hello, welcome to our inaugural episode of Queening Out. I'm very excited. I don't think that there is
Wait,
any.
actually, Kim, can we do that again? You have to give time for the applause.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Welcome to Queening Out. Here's Kim. No. And then I'm gonna put it in applause.
Okay.
Okay. And all right.
Hello, I am Kim, and this is the inaugural episode of Queening Out. I'm very excited to be talking about baseball and about the Mets because there isn't enough space out there of 50 something obsessive Mets fans talking about.
There isn't.
I know. So I guess that was the vision.
The
Yes.
vision. Well, the vision is that we need to. Things aren't going well. What's transpired with the New York Mets is unacceptable over the last.
We're just diving right in.
Well, no, I mean, just no. I'm not. That's just a matter. That's just a matter.
That's just fact.
No, well, yeah, we'll get into the Mets, but no,
Okay.
it's Kim. Kim's a lifelong Mets fan. Kim's been around the block. Kim knows her stuff, and now it's time for Kim to educate the young people out there about what it's like to be a
Long suffering.
Yep.
Yep. So this is a platform, a soapbox,
Sure.
if you will, of to share not just my wisdom, but my suffering and my hope and my optimism at times. This season did not necessarily do that for me, but
No.
I still believe. And I
No.
still have
Right. Yeah.
hope, and I'm looking towards the future. I have faith in David Stearns and in Steve Cohen,
Sure.
and we'll talk a little bit more about the model I think that they should emulate, which is the Dodgers.
Right. Well, that's the thing. We're getting into this conversation at a very opportune time. The World Series is coming up. The World Series is starting between the Dodgers and the Mariners this weekend. The Dodgers have
Did you just say?
functionally
Hold on.
what?
Did you just say the Dodgers and the
Oh,
Mariners?
it's not the Mariners. It's the Blue Jays. It's the Blue Jays. Whatever.
I was like, wait a
doesn't-
minute. I didn't know if that was a test.
It doesn't really matter. It
'Cause-
doesn't. No, you're right. You're right.
I paused for a second. I'm like, wait, am I wrong?
No.
Okay, all
No,
right.
I'm
So
wrong.
it's the Blue Jays,
Right, but it's all it doesn't. It's not going to matter. The American League. All right, I mean, maybe it'll matter.
Hold on. So yes, is this a typical David and Goliath type situation? 100%.
Sure.
However, I do think that I wouldn't dismiss the Blue Jays right so quickly.
Why?
Well, I think that okay, not to keep bringing in the Mets, but I do think they have an element of a little bit of 2024 Mets magic a little bit, this team.
Interesting.
I feel a little bit of devil magic with them.
Sure. How did the 2024 Mets do against the Dodgers?
Well, that's fair. I didn't say I think they're going to beat the Dodgers.
I know.
But I think that they are going to give them a better run than people might think.
Sure. Okay.
I mean,
But
that and a token gets you on the subway.
Right. Like at the end of the day, the Dodgers they've beaten everyone handily. They have more starting pitching than the next three best teams combined. I mean, Roki Sasaki's pitching out of the bullpen. Tyler Glasnow is pitching out of the bullpen in the LDS. Tyler Glasnow is making $30 million and is one of the best strikeout pitchers in baseball. And we
didn't even start talking about Ohtani yet.
Right. Yeah. And Ohtani is Ohtani. Exactly.
Well, but the thing is, what's interesting to me is that, mid-season, this past season, people are saying that the Padres were better than the Dodgers. And now here we are, right? Like, so it's like, yeah, it's almost like they fooled us for a bit, but I guess they did have a lot of injuries and they had a lot, but here we are, and they're just this juggernaut of a team that is, I mean, I can't imagine anybody stopping them.
I think well, I think the thing that concerns me the most about the Dodgers, and it's not an existential concern. It's more you were saying this before, a concern along the lines of they've done a good job. It concerns me as someone invested in the rest of the National League. Um, Going into next year, so okay, we have the World Series this week. But we're just gonna fast forward through the World Series because regardless of if the Dodgers if the Dodgers win, if the Dodgers or the Blue Jays win the World Series, and does your life is your life meaningfully affected?
I mean, no, but I think that it, I think if anything, if the Dodgers win the World Series, which is very likely, is it validates how effective their model and the way they've constructed their team is.
Mhm.
And it should also, put other teams on notice, you know, namely the Mets and other big market teams that are spending this money. But are you spending the money in the right places? Are you spending enough money? Are you getting the right personnel? Are you constructing your team correctly? Because no one can accuse the Mets of not spending money.
Right.
They do and
Right.
have. However, here we are
Right.
watching from the sidelines,
Hmm.
in late October and for the second year in a row. Although we obviously made it much farther last year, but well, we weren't even in the playoffs this year. But I'm just
Yeah.
saying, but here we are, and this Dodgers team, where what's confusing to me as a baseball fan is when baseball fans say that the Dodgers are ruining baseball.
Right.
Where to me, it couldn't be more opposite. I
Hmm.
think the Dodgers are doing everything that every other baseball team should be. They, dare I say it, they are the new Yankees,
Hmm.
right? They are the team. They are the evil empire now. For I mean, I don't even know if they're evil empire, but they're the standard. They're the they're the what everyone else should be trying to do.
Well, I think the problem is too that while the Dodgers are the evil empire, they're like an evil empire that, um, because in Star Wars, the evil empire they had left deficiencies in the Death Star. You could blow it up, whatever. You could blow it up twice. The problem with the Dodgers is that you look to 2026, and the people they're losing to free agency are Michael Conforto, Kirby Yates, Clayton Kershaw, Kike Hernandez, Miguel Rojas, and Michael Kopech.
So
That's
it
all they're losing.
so it's like, who cares? No offense.
But that's the thing,
Yeah.
and so they're going to be running it back next year.
Right.
So not only are they an evil empire willing to spend, they have a $400 million payroll before tax this year. That's I think it ends up being
Mm.
it's 100 over 300, so it's like 150 million that they're paying in tax or something. But then they go into next year and they only have 300, I think. Yeah, like 300 before tax, which is just they'll be taxed a percentage of that up until they'll be taxed a percentage of that. Sorry, Scrappy Doo is on TV.
Sorry, in the background we have Scooby Doo on,
Yeah, no, yeah,
so we're very serious here.
um,
No, okay,
but
sorry.
my point is that it's like if yeah, it's like if the Empire knew what it was doing.
But here's the thing, and back to the evil empire thing, because obviously both of us have a hatred for the former evil empire, the Yankees, right? And but the thing with the Dodgers is I don't even like to call them evil because most of my favorite players that are not Mets are on the Dodgers. So they're so damn likable on top of being so damn good.
Hmm.
Like Mookie Betts, one of the most likable players in the league. Freddie Freeman, one of the most likable players in the league. Clayton Kershaw, I don't know if you like him. I find him to be one of the most likable players in the league. Not just great baseball players, great character guys. So, like, again, so they're not only forming a team that, is a juggernaut talent wise, they're forming this team that's like like they're a bunch of
Yeah,
Lindors.
yeah.
Like they're like great character guys and like good people, like family men. Just like charity,
Yeah.
and again, I didn't even bring up Otani yet. Like again, I'm not the biggest Otani guy, but like you can't not respect what he's doing
Hmm.
and what he is and how much of a unicorn he is.
Hmm.
And it's so like to me it's like I want to hate the Dodgers because they're everything I want the Mets to be, but I can't because they're so likable on top of everything else,
Hmm.
which is actually really annoying.
Yeah. No, yeah, they're likable and they're well constructed, and um, and they're going to get better,
Right.
which is the problem from the rest of the National League's perspective. And where it's like, oh yeah, okay, so yeah, the Dodgers won the National League again. The Dodgers are back in the World Series.
Mm,
Uh, who? I mean, the Mets, by virtue of the fact that they spend the second most money, have to be considered the second best threat, or the second. I mean, especially after watching the way they manhandled the Brewers and
sure.
ran roughshod over the Phillies and dismantled the Reds. It like I just I and I don't know, I know David Stearns wants to keep things sustainable, so to speak. Uh, I don't know. I mean, I also don't know how much. I don't know how much pull David Stearns still has. I mean, not still has, but Steve Cohen seems to. I think Steve Cohen was the one who got mad and fired the entire coaching staff. So
Well, I mean, it's very clear that we need a legitimate one and two ace.
right,
I mean, I think that's a very simple solution. Like I don't again enough with the um, whatever revamped relievers and enough with the let's refurbish these pitchers who used to be great and now let's make pitchers great again.
right,
Like
sure,
enough with that. Like
yeah,
like let's get a Crochet. Let's get a I don't know, name an ace. Like I know that's the thing. There aren't actually many teams that have a like very clear ace.
sure,
Like obviously the Red Sox did a phenomenal job of getting someone who panned out and was a legitimate ace in Crochet.
hmm,
But like again, this is your expertise more than me. Like I don't know how many other teams have legitimate, very clear cut aces. And that's what the Mets need. And but to be honest, have
yeah,
not had since DeGrom, if
right,
we're being honest.
right,
Like, and that's how many years ago now? I
yeah,
mean, so it's like enough already. Like we have the money, spend it in the right places and spend it on, we like okay, even if we did make the playoffs, who's pitching game 1?
hmm,
I didn't even know.
yeah.
I mean, and that's sad when you have a $300 million payroll or whatever the hell it is. I don't even know what their payroll is,
Mhm.
but like, right? Like I did not have a definitive like, oh, guess who's starting game 1? I know, like where
Well,
you
it probably would
should,
have been McLean in game one, but
but he's a rookie.
right, you're counting on
You know
that.
what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, and that's, I mean, I'm not to say he couldn't have handled it, but is that really what we're hanging our hat
Well, and
on?
also on July 31st, who did they think was starting game one? David Peterson.
I don't know.
Like, and I know David Peterson was terrible in the second half, but going into the year, who do they think was starting game? I guess Mania, who they paid $25 million,
Sure. And I mean, I'm going to
but then he
say,
lost him, and then he didn't,
right.
and then he very clearly was still going through a buildup, and they didn't, and they relied on Nolan McLean, who ended up being great, but it's just like,
Well,
what was
I
the
guess they had higher hopes for Peterson. Well, Peterson actually was okay,
for
but
the first half?
but yeah, for the first half. But like Peterson, and then wait, I feel like someone else got hurt.
I mean, Senga just
Oh well, Sing. Oh right,
Senga
yeah,
just
I forgot about
collapsed.
Sing. Yeah,
Yeah,
Sing. But in my defense, I did say like as excited as I was when we signed Soto, and obviously everybody was thrilled. I said we can't be done. We need pitching, starting pitching,
right.
and I know like Clay Holmes was a fun experiment, and he did it was fine, but he's not an ace. He's not even a number 2 or a 3. Like he's a 4 or 5 at best. I think.
Yeah, no,
Like
yeah,
I mean, so it's like you're a team that's spending all this money and you're a top contender, like you said, in the National League. And you're trying to compete with the Dodgers and the Phillies and the Brewers and whatever. You need to have an ace, at
You
least.
well, yeah, and I think the most confusing thing about the 2025 Mets was that off a year where the Mets were the Mets made more money in 2024 than they could have expected to, just by virtue of the fact that they made the playoffs and they came out in the
Mm,
middle of 2023 and said, yeah, we're going to be taking a step back the next 2 years. And based on the fact that any internal projections would have had them, I mean, they weren't drawing very well, and there was no playoff money coming in as late as May of, if you're projecting as late as May of 2024.
yeah,
So and then but they ran a $336 million payroll in that transition year, and then you sign Soto, and payroll goes up from 336 million to 340 million, and you don't address starting pitching.
right.
It's
That's
just
insane.
it doesn't really it doesn't compute. It doesn't
No,
really make sense.
absolutely.
It's like just wasting. I mean, it's like wasting
Right,
$340 million
right.
really, when you're like, it doesn't make sense
Well, I
to me.
guess the school of thought was that, we're going to rely on our lineup. I mean, I don't know.
I don't. Yeah, I think the school
I
of thought was that someone was afraid to ask for more money, or that
yeah,
someone was
yeah,
not willing to give more money, or someone was afraid. I can't think of anything else.
yeah. I
So
mean, wait, did you say that in 2024 they did or didn't make a lot? Like, what do you?
I assume they did. They probably made more than they projected to make.
Yeah, I would think.
And then you had 300 million people come to the ballpark this year, so you're
Yeah,
probably going to
sure.
make more in 2025 than you did in 2024, and
Yeah,
yet the payrolls are exactly the same.
yeah,
So there's more money coming in than you could have projected in both years, and somehow the money didn't go up. Meanwhile, the Dodgers were at $326 million in 220. I think it was 326. Where is it? Yeah, 326 in 2024, and then they won the World Series, and they still went up to
yeah,
$400 million even after winning the World Series, because that's what happens. You make more money when you win the World Series, so you put that money back in the
sure.
team.
Right.
And I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, let me ask you what you think about this, because all of, the Yankee fans that, you know, trolled me immediately after the Mets didn't make the playoffs. Like, and I'm talking minutes after the last game of the season. Um, anyway, um, most of them that did that, one of their big, joke punchlines was biggest payroll in baseball and nothing to show for it. And I was like, huh. And again, I'm not saying that this was an embarrassing ending to our season, but are you, as a Yankee fan, trolling a Mets fan because we've spent money for 5 years?
Right.
When your freaking organization has made a, like, that's what they do. They buy players. That was our joke that we used to have. Buy him, buy him. That's all the Yankees have done for forever. And since they, the Steinbrenners or whatever, since they've been in existence. But now, because, okay, yes, the Mets spent a lot of money and it was an epic failure, and I understand that, and I'm not denying that. However, I don't need a Yankee fan telling me, "Oh, what an embarrassment! You have this big payroll and you didn't win." I'm sorry, what? Like, out of anybody, a Yankee fan can't say that to me, because my team finally is spending money. Like, and
Yeah.
it's been very recently that my team is spending money. So yes, is it a failure this season? 100%. But, like, let's give it time to
Hmm.
grow. Like, let's give it time to figure it out. Like, yes, we didn't spend money in the right places this year, other than Soto,
Hmm.
in my opinion. But I mean, okay, but I don't need a Yankee fan complaining to me about payroll. It's not like you're the Brewers.
Well, and also they've spent all the money, however much money they've spent on payroll over the last 15 years, and don't have anything to show for
100%.
it.
Nor do the Mets, to be fair.
I mean,
But I
no,
mean,
I
but
mean, the
yeah,
Mets
yeah,
haven't been spending. I
but they
mean,
haven't been spending money for all those years. Correct.
whatever.
Yeah, yeah. But
Um,
if we're being honest, we've been in a World Series more recently than they have. So
well, last year.
Oh shit, I forgot. Oh,
Yeah,
excuse my French. Yeah,
you
sorry.
can. Oh,
Yeah,
you can. Can you
I,
not curse?
I'm
I was
sorry.
wondering. Yeah,
I'm
how does it
sorry.
work in terms of
I
you
actually
being
forgot
a?
about because it was such a forgettable World Series for them.
No, I know.
I actually forgot
No,
they
I
were in the
know.
World
It
Series last year.
barely. Well,
That's actually funny.
I mean, Juan Soto signed with the Mets
Yeah,
weeks
I
later.
legitimately forgot that they were in the World Series last year. Oh wait,
I,
which brings me to my next. I wanted to talk about this because as a Mets fan, I can't recall having more fun as a Mets fan than last season. And we were talking about this earlier. Is that watching the playoffs now, right? Like as much as fun as I had, like it was also like such a stressful watch, anxiety ridden watch, because like you're hanging on every pitch, and like every game, every pitch, every inning, every at bat, every, so it's like, as much as I'm so disappointed that the Mets aren't in the World Series or in the playoffs period, I have to say I've been really enjoying watching the quality of baseball without any skin in the game, because I'm just like, I could just kind of appreciate it for what it is. And like, so there's something to be said about that, although I wouldn't trade not having the Mets in the playoffs. But there is an element of like anxiety and like mental health, like test that goes with your team that you're so passionate about being in the playoffs.
I think that's my thing, and I think that's a lot of what I'm kind of bored of, is where it's like, yeah, you go through that, whatever, it's intense, it's, a 7 game series, and you're spending money to go to the game, you're spending money on jerseys, you're spending money to be a part of all of it, and then it's just like, what do you get out of it? Oh, you get this rush, and then ultimately it ends up being
Yeah,
disappointment.
yeah.
And
I don't
I
know. I wouldn't trade last season though, because
no, I wouldn't either.
I just remember like I think I even said it to you. Like I remember standing outside City Field, and I don't even remember which playoff game it was. Like, did we go to more than one series? Play? I don't know. Whatever game it was,
Yeah.
when we were like outside, and it was like that block party
Yeah.
thing, and we were just like literally soaking it in. We were
Yeah.
just like, look at what's going on.
Right.
Like it was just like food trucks and DJs and like party, and like it was just the coolest thing. And like just to have been there for the lowest of the low in all these years, and then to like experience that, and then after the game when they won, how like the party continued, and like it was such a like, I will kudos to the Coens too, because the way they created this atmosphere of like, community and party, and like, and just like, you know what's sad? It made you proud to be a Mets fan again. And then this season kind of brought you back to the, oh yeah, I remember this now. This is how I
Sure.
usually feel as a Mets fan.
Yeah.
Is embarrassment and disappointment. Like this is a familiar feeling. Last year was not a familiar feeling, because we almost didn't know what to do with it, because we're like, oh wow, we're actually good.
Yeah.
Oh wait, we're actually advancing. We're actually going to the NLCS. We actually might go to the World Series. It was just like we almost don't believe it, because we're so not accustomed to feeling like that. And now this season was back to, oh yeah, same old Mets.
Well, I think that's also where it's like, you really couldn't have given me the extra $8 million to sign Jose Quintana.
Exactly.
Like
I mean, not that that would have been
it might
the
have been.
panacea for
It could
like.
have been. All they needed to do was get it. They finished with the exact same amount of wins as the Reds. They would have the best shot at the Dodgers. At the Dodgers that have made the World Series.
Well, that was one thing we were talking about earlier.
It's
But
3 games. It's a 3 game series. The
would
Mets would
we?
have had
But
the best
like,
chance.
and I have all the confidence in this lineup. I have all the confidence in Diaz. What I didn't or don't have confidence in was the pitching. Like I don't. How would that, those pitchers gone against this Dodgers lineup? I don't know.
I mean, ultimately we'll never know.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
that's
But yeah.
what I'm. It just would have been an extra, and even at whatever it is, 100% tax on every dollar that you're over the luxury tax, $16 million for Jose Quintana
Oh, absolutely.
to maybe win one more game
Yeah.
and give yourself a chance. And instead, now Steve Cohen has handed out all this money, and there's nothing. And there's not even there's nothing. There's just us talking about it now.
Well, but that's the difference between now and the Wilpon era is that I really truly have every confidence that Steve Cohen wants to win and he'll do what he needs to do for that to happen. And like
Sure,
he'll spend the money. So that's something that's different, you
but he
know.
doesn't know what he needs to do, or he
Well,
doesn't.
he
He
doesn't, but he should have he's smart enough to hire the people who should. And I guess that's where, you know, listen, a lot of I'm in, group chats with a lot of Mets fans, in our family and friends and things like that. And so many people blame Mendoza. Like for this, oh, Mendoza doesn't know how to manage the bullpen. Oh, Mendoza takes out pitchers too soon. Oh, Mendoza, puts in static all the time. Oh, Mendoza does this. Mendoza cost us the game. Mendoza. I mean, you can make a very solid point that the reason for the failure of this season was Stearns more than Mendoza.
well, I mean, you can make a case for a lot of people, but
But and the reason I say that is Mendoza can only use the personnel that he was handed. Stearns is in charge of constructing the team, and in my opinion, this team was flawed. From the get go, as far as how it was constructed. Am I saying that Mendoza didn't cost the team some games? No, I think he probably did. But I think that at the root of it was constructed poorly.
well, and I think when you're building a team too, that's something you should be conscious of is the deficiencies of your manager, and know that yes, your manager might lose you a couple games here and there. But what you do is when you've already invested so much money into the roster, you need to pad the margins to make sure that this colossal, tremendous investment of $340 million actually gets you into the dance. And
Mm,
for some reason, they're not willing to eclipse a threshold. And yeah, again, yeah, you should account for the fact that Mendoza is going to cost you games. That should be part of your calculation. That again, this just shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen. The Mets should finish with 83 wins, finish tied with the Cincinnati Reds, and miss the playoffs.
mm,
It just based on where we are, based on the personnel, based on the money, based on it's unacceptable. Um,
agreed.
and um,
And that's the thing. And again, I don't mean to keep going back to Yankee fans, but again, the people who troll me are Yankee fans. Like that's just the way it is. And that's my point though. Like they're making fun of me, but I'm admitting to you that it was a failure. Like I'm
yeah.
not. You're not saying anything I don't know. Like, but like, why are you so invested in it? Like, you know what I mean? Like
Well,
that's the thing. Sorry, I
because
needed to.
they don't I don't know, they've lost their way. They've
Well, and it's also like um, Frozen about soda.
yeah,
Let it go. Like they
sure.
can't let it go. Jesus. I mean, it's like Soto is gone. Soto has been gone. Like like why are we still talking about Soto? Why is Juan Soto in the Yankees playoff hype video? That is some listen. That is some pathetic behavior. Sorry.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
like
agree.
he is not on your team anymore. That like David and I were talking about this. It's like the Red Sox putting, Raffy Devers striking out in their hype video for the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like what? Like he's gone. Like move on. And actually, it's not even as bad because at least Raffy Devers was on the team last season. You know what I'm saying?
One could even make a reasonable case that Rafael Devers was not. I mean, he was making a positive contribution on the field, but whatever. People didn't. He wasn't necessarily well liked in the Red Sox uh, organization or whatever.
Sure.
Everyone liked Juan Soto. Juan Soto produced for the Yankees,
Right. And he was a
and
rental. He wasn't a homegrown player. Like he wasn't Pete Alonso. You know what I'm saying? Like it's totally different things.
I think that probably ran out. So we can wrap it up. But I mean, it doesn't really matter anyway. But yeah, they're incapable of introspection. They're incapable of looking and saying, well, why didn't Juan Soto want to sign with us? Um, and they don't need to. They don't need to. They don't. If they don't want to, they don't have to. They can just keep doing exactly what they're doing, and they'll keep bowing out in the ALDS until the end of time
Yeah.
and
But
whatever.
I like my point is just like you need to move on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of your most of your acquisitions this season panned out.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm saying, meaning the Yankees.
Yeah.
So what are you worried about Juan Soto for?
I don't know. Well, but now Bellinger's a free agent, so I mean Trent Grisham's a free agent.
Okay, and which brings me to someone said to me today, that doesn't really know a lot about baseball, but at school, what would you do if Pete Alonso went to the Yankees? And I said, that's not happening. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, I find it hard to believe that Steve Cohen won't like outbid, like,
I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea.
I
I
actually wouldn't be
agree.
okay with that. Like I like like
We'd all survive, but
we have
I
more
don't
money than them. Like why would that happen?
I don't think. I mean, if they could, all it takes is one. After what happened last year, would I be surprised if someone with power at the New York Yankees all of a sudden decided to get a little irrational? No, I would not be surprised. Um, I would not be surprised if they wanted to make a statement of some kind.
Sure, but
I
but here's the thing. Like I do think there's a mutual motivation there between Pete and the Mets organization. Like I think if there's a way to make it happen, it will happen as long as both sides are, somewhat reasonable about
yeah,
what they're asking for. And like, I know Boris is his agent, so that's
yeah,
an issue. But the Mets want Pete to stay. Pete wants to be a Met. So right there, that's
yeah,
huge. Like, and you can't let him go. You
yeah.
can't. I mean, he already has franchise records. He's a fan favorite. I'm not saying whatever. He's not Juan Soto. I get it, but like, I think you know, you can't let him go to the Bronx.
Uh,
You can't. You can't let that happen. Like I
it,
just, I mean, Steve Cohen, whip out your checkbook and do what you need to do.
it would
Like,
make for good TV. It would make for really good TV.
yeah,
Uh,
I don't know. I just think I was very adamant on that won't happen, and she kind of like looked at me, and I'm like, yeah, we have more money than them.
yeah.
It won't happen. Like, but I mean, but I don't know why I'm so confident, but I feel like I'm pretty confident on that one. But you never know.
Well, I think just because I'm kind of just I'm gonna make sure everything looks hunky dory. So I'm gonna end it
Okay.
here.
Okay.
But no. Well, if you have any, but we'll get more into off season next
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
and we'll
Oh, let's really quick before we go. Let's make World Series predictions since it's starting.
Dodgers in 4.
Dodgers in 4.
Yeah,
All right, I'm going Dodgers in 6. I'm gonna give a little street cred to the Blue Jays.
I agree with you, Tim.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Dodgers in 6. I
I
think
just
that the Blue Jays are, I don't know. They have a lot of fight. They have a lot of grit. They have a lot of spirit. They have a lot of I don't know. I love the Vladdy story. I think that's a fun, like, feel good, story. I don't know. Blame Canada.
sure, sure.
I want to see a good series, but I really don't. I think that the Blue Jays are gonna hang in. I don't think they're gonna win, but I think they're gonna hang
Uh,
in.
I'm just looking forward to.
Good baseball.
I'm just looking forward to bringing down the Empire.
The Empire.
That's all
I respect the Empire, but I know I see what you're saying. Like I like that's a thing, and I know we discussed this earlier, but like I actually get mad at myself that I don't dislike them more. So I'm like, why don't I dislike them more? Because like the hatred I feel for the for the Yankees, who aren't even in our league, is so bizarre. But I guess the reasoning behind that is I don't have to hang out with Dodger fans. I have to hang out and listen to and get tortured by Yankee fans. But I don't. have to. I don't personally know any
Wait until the
Dodgers.
Mets are playing the Dodgers in the playoffs again. Dodger fans will be very annoyed.
Well, I have to say, I did annoy me to no end the three batters to Otani thing when
Right.
they did that when we were, and the fact that their play-by-play guy was the national announcer was
Yes.
absurd. So, like, yes, were there things that annoyed me, and but not even about the team. It was more about the broadcast that annoyed me. Like, it wasn't necessarily about the team, other than the like nauseating attention that was given to Otani. But but other than that, like nothing about the team per se annoyed me. It was about the broadcast and the way the mainstream media is like, you know, in love with the Dodgers.
Right.
So like, and I guess rightly so, because like, listen, if you're a casual baseball fan and you barely know what you're talking about, you know who the Dodgers are, you know who the Yankees are. That's just reality,
Mm-hmm.
So we just have to get used to that. But anyway, all right.
That's all we have for today. But make sure you're following metropolitan media everywhere, and we'll be back for more.